David, good to see you.
You sound surprised.
I'm not surprised at all. You've had the whatever it was, it came from the board in terms of a vote of confidence. Tell us how those discussions were a couple of weeks ago and how difficult they were.
Listen, I think the communication from myself and the club's been very consistent for ever since I took over, to be honest, so that's not really changed. I understand, because of the position we're in, the league position, the form, why the questions have been asked, why the club put a statement out. It wasn't a surprise to me at all because of the conversations I've already been having. We know the position isn't good enough, but also to come out and show the support that they're still giving me, as again, wasn't a surprise to me because of the communication and that the situation I inherited, which was manager will be given time to try and turn things around, and we believe we will.
Did you have to ask for reassurance from the board, or did you have to explain anything to the board?
I'm constantly explaining decisions, why we do things. I think everyone involved, constant communications, myself and Malky, with Ben, with Ian, are always about trying to improve, trying to make us better, because we know the situation we find ourselves in, and it isn't where we need to be at all. The league position, the form, but how quickly it can change as well, and about sticking together and believing in what we're doing.
Was there any point during those discussions that you had any fear that it might go the other way?
No, I don't think so. I think I asked that even before the St Mirren game. I was asked a question about fearing for my job. I don't think fear is the right word. I fully understand it's not good enough what I've delivered, and I'm responsible for the results after the amount of games we've had. So as I said after the game, and I still stand by, I fully understand why people would ask the question and the noise would be there. 100%, fully accept that. But I also believe I can turn it around, and I still feel that way, even having the last 2 weeks on the grass with the players, the feeling I get from them, and also how quickly things can change. But I also know that you don't just get an endless amount of time. The statement clearly said as well that they've got support in the manager, but things need to improve.
There's been some strong words from players in the last couple of weeks as well. Joe Newell before the St Mirren game, Chris today saying players have let you down. Do you feel the players have let you down? Or maybe let themselves down? No,
I think as a collective we need to be better. I think sometimes, as a head coach, it's not always directly my fault for something, but it's 100% my responsibility, the result. So whatever way we go around that, there's no point in pointing the fingers and blaming other people. Or I look at myself first and foremost. I think that's something I've said to the players on numerous occasions about accountability, looking at yourself, can you do more? But sticking together through times of adversity, when things are tough, there's no point in going in on yourself or feeling sorry for yourself. It's not going to change by doing that. So listen, the message, even though I've spoke to the players numerous times about saying they're letting me down, you just need to do your job first and foremost. So go in and do what you're good at, which is to be a professional football player. Don't worry about letting anybody down, and do that to the best of your ability.
There's been a lot of negativity on and off the pitch. How do you cope with that?
Just keep going, keep believing in what I'm doing. As I say, nobody's...
You push it away though?
You have to. I think if you don't, it would consume you, because I understand the noise. Fully understandable. As I say, I've been here a long time. I understand the expectation. I've said that numerous times, the demands. And even if we were to win the next couple of games, that pressure and demand doesn't go away. It just sounds better for a couple of weeks until you need to keep progressing. We need to keep moving forward because we know where we are. But I also take a lot of belief in the fact that how quickly things can change. About 3 games in the next week, and I know the need for points is massive, and I'm not looking past the game against Dundee first and foremost, but how quickly things can change, because that's how quickly it can in Scotland especially.
You say you know what's needed. Have you been told that you need to win a certain number of points between now and Christmas to keep things going the way they are?
No, not as a sort of ultimatum, so to speak. I think it was pretty self-explanatory for me, which is you need to start winning quickly. We know that. I'm well aware of that. It's not a case of 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, how many points it could be over the course of that. The position we find ourselves in at the moment as a football club isn't good enough. And we need to change that as quickly as we can, and we've got an opportunity to try and do that at the weekend. If we win at the weekend, you go 1 point behind Dundee, who are currently 7th in the league. So that's how quickly that can change again. And as I say, I'm not looking past that, because I know the fine margins we're dealing with at the moment.
Yeah, you're preempting my next question. I mean, you can be off the table by 8:15 tomorrow night at the time Hearts kick off against Celtic at Tynecastle.
Yeah, well, all we can worry about is what we're doing. Obviously, the results can happen before that as well, the games that have been played before, but my full focus is if we win the game, we can go 1 point behind Dundee.
Team news?
Team news, well, Miko missed that last one through suspension, so he'll come back in. All the international boys have came back healthy, which is positive. And we'll just wait and see how everybody sort of recovers after training today, because it's the first sort of day they've all got back together, because a lot of the boys have came from all over the world as usual, so make sure everybody's recovered right between now and kick-off.
Finally, for me, mentally, do they have to switch on now to what's, because they all know the situation, they all know what's at stake. Mentally, they have to be really focused.
Yeah, I think that's every single game, every week. I think the biggest frustration and disappointment was probably the manner of the first half last week, which makes it feel a lot worse, because it's the first time really that we've really let ourselves down on different fronts, which we've addressed this week. Obviously, a few home truths in certain situations, accountability, I talked about that already. And the biggest thing for me is just a reaction from that. And if I get that reaction and the players play at the level they can, I know we're a real good side and we'll be able to turn this around quickly.
David, you already partly answered this, but just to confirm, have the board set you any short-term targets?
No, it's just as what the statement clearly says, which is they're continuing to support me. They've always said they will. They said they would give me time, and they've been true to their word, because I understand, like I've said, the points return for the amount of games we've had for me as a manager's not good enough. So they've been consistent with that, but they've also been consistent in saying that it needs to turn and needs to turn quickly.
Were you happy with the process that led to the board issuing that statement and the wording of it?
I think, as I've said, it wasn't a surprise to me, the club coming out and saying what they said, because I'm in constant communication anyway, every day, to be fair. So I'm fully aware of my job, my challenges, the challenges at the football club, but I also know that the support's there. I've had it since day one at the football club, and continue to have that, because everybody's working as hard as they can to turn this around.
Last one then, just what needs to change to turn fortunes around then?
A bit of everything really. I need a reaction for the first half performance especially, which we got in the second half against St Mirren. I know we go and score to make it 2-2, but the reaction was then clearly there for the players. Players that came onto the pitch made a difference. The togetherness is there, so some of the players that came on hadn't been playing, but they're still massively part of it. You can see that with the way they performed. So there is a real togetherness still here. I still feel it all the time, and they're doing that every day in training. And I know that a lot of the players have came out and said what they've said and how they feel about it, but that's what also gives me the confidence, knowing that there is still a real togetherness there and a desire to change it, and belief that we will.